Cheers.
Cheers. Well, it's that time again.
I'm Susan.
And I'm Annie.
And this is
Two friends, one chat. Just one chat.
One
chat. But
one good one.
Oh yeah, definite.
They're always good.
Yeah, like one chat, but like 24 times.
Okay. I think this is actually 25. But okay.
Snap.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Oh.
Cause we have listeners that are like listening.
What?
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
So I say welcome back because I like legit know people that are listening to this now.
Welcome back and thank you for listening. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh. Wow, it's so awesome because I feel like you and I have poured in a lot of our time and energy, right? And really, like, at first we weren't sure if this is something we would like, and then of course we ended up like sort of loving it.
Yes.
And then it just became this like energy rolling, and now it's really cool that people are enjoying what we enjoy as well. Yeah, like,
and I think getting things out of it too.
Oh my gosh.
I think we've heard a few personally from people, and none that I'll share just because I don't have permission, but that people are actually like finding these tools useful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
In their life, which is like the whole goal.
Oh my gosh.
Don't make us cry.
I will tear up a little bit.
Just a little bit. I know.
Because that's the other thing. I think you and I are so driven to like promote positive mental health education just from the experiences that we've had. To have that work feels so fulfilling for me.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep better tonight knowing that I'm putting positivity and hoping someone won't have to go through what we went through. Yes. So I am...
Or I would add that they would have the tools they need to go through it. Because we can't stop the world from happening to you, right? I wish we could stop bad things. But they're going to happen. We can't stop them. But if we can help you have some tools to like pull from when those things happen, that's where I'm headed. And I hope that's what we're doing.
Oh, I love that because there's a really good TED Talk, and I'll try to find it. But it's a lady who talks about how suffering, we are literally kind of born to suffer.
Yeah, I get that.
Yes, and I think having the right mental health tools can turn like the regular life experience of suffering and trauma and loss really different. It can turn it into like shaping you into a more aware human and all of these like positivity or positive things where if you didn't have them before, and I want to pause really fast. I'm not saying there's something good in everything because that's not true.
Right.
No. But when you have the right mental health tools, you will get through that hard time.
Yes.
And you'll be able to process it, and you'll be able to further your connection with other people going through the same thing. Like, it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool that people are in... I have goosebumps. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Every time we get like a message on Instagram or Facebook, or someone I know is like, hey, I listened and it was really good. It's like, what? Wait, what? Because I remember when we first started that I think we said it together, like, even if it just turns into recordings of our conversations for each other, like, I'd be happy. Like, that'd be enough for me.
I agree.
And it's starting to, like, sprout a little bit. I know.
Oh, my goodness.
No crying.
No crying. Oh, I'm stoked. It's so cool. And you know what's funny? I'll reference this in my Core Wounds episode, which I know I owe you guys. And I've been really working on it, actually.
Wow, that's a lot of work. So
I know. I'm
proud of you.
I'm actually kind of proud of myself.
I'm crazy proud of you.
Okay. And in fact, maybe today we'll even throw that down. Because you know how we, for all the listeners, we record in chunks, right? Yeah. Because we also have full-time jobs and families and lives and things apart from this. But there's a part of my story that made me from like kind of like trauma pieces not know how to complete tasks.
Ooh.
Because that was never modeled for me.
Yeah.
And to really doubt like my ability to create and complete things.
Yes.
And I shouldn't say it was never modeled for me, but it was like, I'll explain it. It'll make sense. So to kind of have that experience with this podcast where it's just you and I creating, and of course, I think the listeners know at this point, I am like the most creative. I like,
woo,
wish I could just create all the time. Like,
I love it.
Cricket, you should sponsor us. So to have something working that I've like created and I'm posting, and these things are like coming together, and like the content we create from like really working hard on our licenses is coming through. It's really a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah. So it is. I think it is kind of boosting my self-esteem.
Well, it should.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause you're crushing it.
Oh, we're crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it's, for my story, there's pieces of it that I'm like, this is kind of undoing little bits of trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we spent so long getting to this kind of social work level that we're at. So long. So much work. That, to see kind of the harvest of that, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
How it makes you feel.
Oh, I kind of like that. It's hard to explain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that being said, we've gushed over you guys, and we're so grateful you're here. And I'm super excited for the topic today.
Yes. Ooh, guys, I love this topic. Yep. I don't think it's talked about enough. So today we are talking about harm reduction.
Awesome.
And I think this idea or concept kind of, at least where I first learned about it, is kind of in the addiction realm.
Yes.
But I think it really, the idea around harm reduction can stretch so much further.
Yeah.
Not just in the addiction world, but the general idea around harm reduction is not that we are expecting a bad behavior or addiction to just stop.
Yeah.
That's kind of, that's not really gonna happen.
Turns
for
out
most people.
That doesn't work super well.
Doesn't work so good. So the idea that we help people or ourselves work on reducing the harm these behaviors or choices are having in their life. So I think one you may have heard of already is like the needle exchange, right?
Yes.
Our goal is not to stop you
Yeah.
from injecting whatever your drug of choice is, right? But we want you to do it safely. We want you to have a clean needle every time so that we're not spreading these diseases around, getting people sick, all those sorts of things. So I think that's kind of like the generic idea around harm reduction.
Let's pause. Can we pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
And give a more in-depth for people who don't know what a needle exchange is.
Oh.
Because I think and let's I want to chat a bit about the research behind it and how successful it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you want to walk us through kind of the idea of a needle exchange, it would be great.
I mean, I think the idea of the needle exchange is that you're turning in dirties for cleans,
yes,
right?
When you're using, right? Yeah.
So when you're using, there are needle exchanges or places you can go to take dirty needles. So again, they're not left in the street or on the road or in a house, right? Yeah. They're going somewhere safe.
Yeah.
And then you get clean needles in exchange. Yeah. So that will reduce the harm on your body and the community that your addiction may have.
Yeah, I think too, like, for hopefully it will lower, and it has shown to do this. I think that's what's really important.
Oh, yes.
It lowers like STI, STD infections. Do you call them like infectious diseases?
Yeah.
Or, like HIV. So it as a community, it will lower those risks, right? Yes. Which I think is extremely important because, some people try drugs for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, and well, here's the hard thing about harm reduction, I think. Yeah. And I believe and support it. The research is very clear. It works.
Yep.
And it is an incredibly protective factor. And because harm reduction model, there's no shame and blame if you use again, right? So it removes all those pieces.
Yes.
It has this beautiful ability to catapult people and build their self-esteem and so they become like, then they reduce the harm even more. Then they reduce the harm even more, just like any habit form, right? Like,
yes, because physically we're reducing the harm, but also by setting up those sort of programs and standards, like you said, we are emotionally and mentally reducing the harm that we're putting on people with addiction. We, you know, because I think a lot of times they might hear you're not worth it, or you know it. So, but if we have this place that's like, hey, we want you to be safe. We're not telling you how to live your life. We just want you to be safe. That then, I think, without even using words, tells them you're worth it. You're important. You're respected. Like you're valued. You're valued.
Yeah. Wow.
We want, and then, like you said, in turn, they may start valuing themselves and maybe making different choices.
You know, in reflecting on just like, and you know, I love harm reduction. We're social workers. It's our jam.
We love it.
And here's the thing. Again, research says it works and works well, but I just see it as this beautiful way to remove the us and them mentality between those who struggle with addiction. Because we've said this before, if you don't struggle with addiction, that is a huge privilege. Yeah. Like, there's brain science backing that. Like, it is, I have goosebumps saying this because it's so true. It is so difficult to struggle with addiction because it's kind of at the forefront of everything you do.
Yes.
So, harm reduction is such a beautiful way to take shame and blame out of the human existence. Yeah. And give people that, like, self-esteem piece, like, yeah.
And I do think on some level, I know when we talk about addiction, people go straight to drugs, right? But I've heard before that really all of us are addicted to something.
Oh, interesting.
That everyone has an addiction.
Yeah.
What was that book? In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts or something. I'll have to look it up. That everyone's mind is going to be addicted to something, but what is it that's going to happen, right? Is it going to be socially acceptable for you?
Oh, wow.
Is it financially going to... Let's say you're addicted to Beanie Babies, right? Like, that's not physically harmful, but that could be financially harmful if you let that addiction spread too far. So I love the idea of like harm reduction in all realms. Like, however your addiction is hurting your life, let's try to reduce that harm. And again, no us and them. My addiction just happens to be you know, okay in the eyes of society. Right? But really, we're all addicted. We're all fighting this fight, so let's work together.
I think I'd like that perspective, and then I kind of struggle with it in one way, and that's like, I think if everyone had brains that hadn't been introduced to like drugs that we consider now, right?
Oh, yes.
Right? So if this was prior to fentanyl and heroin, and I totally could see that, or just any drug of any kind, but once we synthetically introduce in the brain, like that... Right, like it becomes a different level of need. You know,
I agree with you. They're definitely different levels. Oh my goodness.
That's good. I think that's a great distinction, and I think that's 100% right. And also, on the subject of Beanie Babies, I found so we're moving, and I found in our attic. Actually, it was super precious. I found boxes of my childhood stuff my mom had dropped off, including like a giant box of Beanie Babies. I was laughing so hard. I was a tween when they came out. And so I was a collector, and I went to McDonald's, got the little... really
when they were the little ones that were in the Happy Meals?
Oh my gosh, you guys. I just lived for Beanie Babies. There was a store, I don't remember the toy store, but I was at Tiny Town. It was in walking distance, and it was always like, what Beanie Babies did they get in? It was just a very sweet, like,
You were too cute.
Oh,
Did you like line? You line them all up?
Yeah, well, and I also probably had way too much independent playtime.
Yeah.
So, like, they all had, like, personalities and shit.
Okay. I bet they did.
They did.
With you? Oh, they totally did.
Oh, my gosh.
Backstories.
I found, like, a set of books. I made one of them. Like, little, like, teeny tiny.
You did not?
Yes. They were, like, a science book. And one of them was, like, solve the puzzle book. Like, they were alive as far as, like, my little mind was concerned.
Whoa.
Yeah. I went deep.
Whoa.
I went deep. It was
Okay.
great. It was great.
Woo-wee.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Okay.
I'm kind of weird.
Okay.
None of that's changed. So, that is really funny about Beanie Babies. Oh, also, have you seen the picture of, like, the adult couple getting a divorce in court?
Yes,
separating
the
Beanie
Beanie
Babies.
Whoa.
For the record, I
Whoa.
didn't have that many. I had, like, 15. But that is, if you're... Can we make a note and post that?
Yes.
It's the greatest photo that the 90s will ever give us.
It's true.
It's an absolute gift.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I digress.
Okay.
Talking about the beanies.
But back to harm reduction. Yes, totally agree. There's different levels of addiction for sure, right? But again, I think we want to make sure no matter what level you're in, you're valued. And that's why we come back to this harm reduction, to ask someone that is so addicted that their life literally revolves around that one thing to just stop. What?
No.
Like even with in our best kind of programs, right, with the right medications and therapies and stuff, like I still think it's very hard to expect someone to just stop even with those supports, which is why I just love the idea of harm reduction. Like, then let's slowly work on this. I can't expect us to just magically change our minds about something, right? No, we've got to talk about it. We've got to work on it. We got to try something, see what works, see what doesn't. As well as keeping the community safer too. Yes. I think that's a big part, at least like the needle exchange, right?
Yeah. I think too of like, I think a lot of people that are probably listening have experienced addiction on the other end, like being the person that loves the person struggling with addiction. And I think what can be hard is, just like you said, that desire is going to be more important than breathing to that person. That's science. So they are going to manipulate you. They've probably stolen from you. They're going to do all of these behaviors to meet that need. So, and the smarter the person, the better they'll be at those manipulative behaviors, which one, I just want to honor you if you've experienced that. It's so hard to experience that from a loved one. And I highly recommend, you could do 2 routes. You could do NAMI, which will help with kind of like that mental health, like support group, for other people that have experienced it, because like it is devastating to experience that as like, you're loving this person who's like actively hurting you and you don't understand why. Yes. And then there's Al-Anon too.
There's Al-Anon or Smart Recovery.
Oh, Smart Recovery.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had been in a relationship in the past with someone that had addiction issues. I personally enjoyed Smart Recovery.
Oh, good.
Better. That's the group I went to. They're a little more, I'd say, like problem solving. Not that we can solve all problems, right? Yeah. But that was more of their focus. A little less rigid. There was no real religious piece in Smart Recovery.
Is Smart Recovery a hashtag throwback to SMART goals? Is that where they get the SMART from?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't dive that. I'll get my book back out. I still have all my books. I don't know.
You should look, because you were saying like it's more solution focused basically. Yeah. And I was like, wait a second.
Maybe it is.
We'll get back to you guys on that one.
But find whatever group works for you. And whether you are a person that loves someone who's addicted, or you are a person who is addicted to something, AA, NA, Smart Recovery, whatever works for you, try that. But I just went the Smart Recovery route, and
I love that.
I along with other things, I think that group made a huge difference in my life. So I would,
that's wonderful.
Give it a try.
Oh, it's the, I'm always going to bring it back to my favorite brain fact. 80% of our brain are working to keep us in relationship. If you're experiencing something really difficult, like either struggling with addiction or loving someone who's addicted, and you're watching, and it's kind of level. Like, let's say this is like threat level midnight addiction, right? So you're watching this person really crumble, or you are crumbling. To share that experience with other people going through it, because like we're driven to be in relationship, it is a game changer. Like,
yes.
Oh my! I have goosebumps because, and I know it. For a lot of the way we're raised in Western society, it doesn't make sense. You're like, well, there's nothing that tells me that that's actually going to work. I promise you,
it works.
Group therapy is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, both. I mean, you facilitate it all the time.
Oh, yes. All the time.
Yes. And you see people, I mean, I imagine, like, successes?
Yeah. Well, in the groups I currently run, that's, but not success is not
success
really a thing.
Is different.
But like you said, it's relationships and realizing, this other person is going through something similar to me. I'm not alone. I have someone to bounce ideas off of or talk to when I'm having a bad day or learn some new things I didn't know. So yes, I think support groups in general are a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Are a great idea.
I'm totally digressing though because we're supposed to be talking about harm reduction.
That's good.
And I'm like all over. Well, I just want to support.
Yes, but I think I had a couple more thoughts around harm reduction.
Ooh, yeah.
So I think in a more kind of intermediate level of people that maybe aren't fully addicted but feel like maybe they're struggling with a particular thing. Again, and I think I'll use personal examples. I think I don't feel like I have an addiction to alcohol, but I think sometimes I probably drink more than I should, or I lean on that a little more than I should at night when I get home. And, you're always like, that's it. I'm going to go cold turkey for the month, right? Mm-hmm. What do they call it? Dry January, February, whatever
sober
month,
October.
Whatever it is.
We've heard it all. Yeah.
And that never works for me. And then I feel really crappy, right?
Oh.
And then you feel worse about yourself and so on and so on. So if you look at this harm reduction model, at least for myself, and I think a few friends that I know, it's like, well, hey, I'm not going to drink the whole bottle tonight.
Yeah, I love that.
Right?
Yes.
I'm just going to have that one glass. Or another thing I've done is I'm not going to have alcohol in the house. I'm only going to drink when I'm socializing with people.
Oh, that's great.
So not going cold turkey, but reducing the harm that particular thing, which is alcohol for me, might be having on my life in that time. And really, when I dig, at least for me, with the alcohol, it's less about that and more about what else is going on, right?
Definitely.
In my life during that time. But playing around with the harm reduction in alcohol gives me that time and that space to dig deeper into the mental and emotional reasons. Why am I feeling like I'm having to do that much?
Yeah.
But to just go cold turkey, I just obsess about the alcohol and never get to the what's going on right now that you need to handle.
Well played. Yeah.
Right?
Well played, Susan.
So, because we do talk about harm reduction in these like major addiction levels, right? But I think we can use it in our personal lives.
Oh my gosh.
As well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me, man, there's so much insight in what you're reflecting on, and when I'm hearing it, I'm seeing how I've used that too, because when I was a kiddo, a lot of pressure to like look a certain way, so I went on a lot of like crash diets and like things like that. And it wasn't until I became like a mentally healthy adult, and I was talking to my doctor, and like the goal is like needed to lower my cholesterol, right?
Right.
Which is a big deal. That you want, that's like I want to live, guys. Yeah. I really enjoy living. And so I really started adopting, and I took it straight from like my social work background, and I was like, time to just harm reduce, right? Like,
yes.
So like, I'm reducing the fried foods. The goal wasn't like, I'm going to have a supermodel body. Like, nothing like it was just every day I'm going to make a little bit healthier decisions. I'm going to incorporate more fruits and vegetables. I'm going to.
Yes.
And it was great. My cholesterol went down.
Girl.
Yes. And you know what?
Nice job.
Thank you. I still had margaritas.
Proud of you.
It's a really big deal, actually. I'm
It's
so excited.
a huge deal.
And it was all just harm reduction. Like, no crash diets, no, like, and if you're doing, like, 30, you know, the 30 and 30 or
the
something.
healthy, no, whole 30.
Like, I support you, right? I support whatever you want to do.
Oh, of course.
For me, it didn't work. Like, for me, that was just focusing, like, on one aspect, like exactly what you were talking about. I'm ignoring the emotional pieces, the triggers, all of those things.
Yes.
And I'm hyper focusing on, like, I need to lose weight, you know, like, just like this, like, you know, which is a core wound, which we'll get to talk about. I know I need to do it. But I'll do it. I'll do it. Hopefully I won't cry through the whole thing like I did the last hard episode.
You're fine.
But yeah, it's really fun to see harm reduction practiced by myself.
Yes.
And work. Yeah. Like, that was what's so nuts, because I was like, well, you know, I still had fried food sometimes. Like, in my head, I'm thinking when they're taking my blood, like, still had fried food sometimes.
Man, they're gonna know.
They're gonna know,
I ate
right?
that French fry.
And it was good. It was good,
it
guys.
Was so good.
It
Worth
was super good. And I'm like, it's okay, Annie. And then they came back and they were like, we don't need to, because the test was, if I could get it down, I wouldn't need to go on cholesterol meds.
I love it.
And basically, like, keep doing what you're doing. You worked. We're no meds. And so I was just really, I was like, yeah. And it all came from taking that pressure off of me to, like, stop doing everything, only eat lettuce and tomatoes and a chicken breast, and you know what I mean? Like, remove all those extremities and then focus on, like, okay, I'm just gonna make healthier choices. Yeah, like, each choice. And, like, I cannot talk enough about harm reduction. And how helpful it's been to my mental health.
And I do think it was a great point that you made that, hey, if you can cold turkey it on whatever your thing is, go
fuck yeah,
great.
You do.
I'm not telling people that harm reduction is the only way to do things. I just want people that may have tried cold turkey or are afraid to know that there's other options out there.
Oh, yeah. And if you have tried cold turkey and it hasn't worked, you're not weak.
Thank you.
That's normal brain science.
It
doesn't work for most people. There's a small population. Oh, my Uncle Mike being one of them.
Aww.
He's such a wonderful human. But he had a quadruple bypass surgery. Well, technically it was supposed to be quadruple, but they only did triple. And he was a smoker. Yeah. And they were basically like, you gotta stop smoking. And he's like, okay. Bam. And just effing quit smoking that day. That is wildly unusual. And so here's the thing. I think there's a 0.001% people that can just kind of, which is wild. And I almost wish we could just study their brains, because that's not normal. That's not normal brain development. And I think actually having that ability to turn off and on will probably hinder you in other ways.
Sure. Oh, sure.
But yeah, I would just be fascinated to study the people that can do that, like, flip switch.
Yeah.
For the normally developed brain, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Yeah. What if it does, man? You are like...
You go for it.
You go nuts.
Go nuts.
Goodness, could you imagine?
Do it. No.
That's so wild.
No.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking...
Yeah.
Another thing that I think is harm reduction, but maybe I didn't realize it was harm reduction.
Oh, see, I love this freaking podcast.
Oh, good! Okay, I love this. Condoms.
Oh, yes!
I'm just thinking back to, like, when I first went to college.
Yes.
My freshman year. There were just condoms in the bathroom, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And thinking back now, that feels very harm reduction-y to me. We're not expecting you to not ever have sex, but let's be safe about it.
I love that.
Don't you think that's kind of a harm reduction model?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Access to... It's almost like the needles thing, right?
Yes.
Access to safe materials for any high-risk behavior will keep the community more safe.
Thank you.
Which is really interesting, you guys, because you can actually look in your counties, because it's usually a county-based service, but there was a hot second where we had federal funding for needle exchanges, because in other countries we have these extensive studies on how safe it makes the environment for people.
We are way behind the times here.
Yes,
way behind the times.
If someone is in active levels of addiction, their primary goal is to use, right?
Yeah.
Nothing will stop that. So pretending it's just going to go away is just going to put us like us, them, you know, like, and so other countries have realized that and done needle exchanges, and they have again reduced the spread of harmful diseases. They've protected immense amount of the communities, and they have a higher recovery rate for people struggling with addiction.
I'm not surprised.
I have 0% surprise too, because I've seen and felt what harm reduction can do for myself.
Yeah.
And it is self-esteem building.
Yes.
To like implement something and see it actually have positive results. Like it's 100%. A huge deal. Yeah.
100%.
Oh man, I just enjoy. It's so fun to talk about mental health topics,
right?
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think part of what I love, at least, is that we still learn and grow. Yeah. Like, there's no. I know we're the ones like presenting the podcast to you.
Yeah.
But while we've done the work and we have our licenses and we do know some things, like we're not the experts on everything.
Oh gosh, no.
We continue to learn and grow by having these conversations. And again, back to your 80% of the brain, right? We need those relationships to have the conversations, to learn the new things, because if we just sit and talk to ourselves, our poor little brains don't always do a great job.
Oh no, my shame spirals real fast.
So we need those relationships and those people to kind of pull us out of those spirals sometimes.
Oh yeah, and I would say too, like, you know, of course, like, the saving grace is pulling you out of spirals, but I also think, like, on the positive side of that, like, the ideas are great, but if you get a group of smart people together, those ideas get insanely awesome. Yeah. Because life gets so spread out, I can only view through my experience lens, which is totally finite, right?
Yeah.
But you add a bunch of different lenses, and all of a sudden you're, like, getting new resources. You have a plan that actually works. You can base it on strength. So, like, just like we do with you, because I am so bad at social media, and it's your strength. But that's the thing, like, we get to play off those strengths.
Yes.
Which is, you know, and of course I'm digressing, because now we're not talking about harm reduction again. I apologize. That's on me. But
that's because look what harm reduction can do. It can really take you so many places.
I would be remiss too, if I may. I have another thought about harm reduction.
Bring it. I love it.
And this is one we'll want to put some resources up, because I think probably the most real thing that we like hot off the press harm reduction is Narcan. So you can actually, any person can have Narcan. You don't panic. It's not a needle anymore. It just is a nasal spray. So just like if you've ever gotten like a flu vaccine where they up your nose, or
like Flonase. If you have allergies.
Yep,
Flonase.
Anyone can have that, and it does not. I've done lots and lots and lots and lots of trainings on it, because we are losing people to fentanyl overdoses. You can carry it, and if you're seeing anyone passed out, call 911 and administer not fentanyl.
Narcan. Don't administer fentanyl.
Oh my gosh, good Lord.
If you have it, please don't administer it to someone else. That's illegal. But Narcan for sure.
And in your community, if there's any legislation being passed for like fentanyl test strips, that's a harm reduction model. That means like if kids are going to do drugs or adults are going to do drugs, it's basically like they can know if there's fentanyl in it or not. And so that, of course, is not a federally funded program right now.
Right.
But there's a lot of lobbying going forward too.
Yeah.
And we can do a whole episode on fentanyl, just because it's so
big right now.
So big right now. And we can talk more in depth on all of those pieces, but I think that's the thing we're probably seeing in the forefront of harm reduction
is Narcan.
Yeah. And it's free at your pharmacy. So you can just go and request it. The pharmacist has to be in to give it to you. It doesn't matter if you know anyone that's actually struggling with fentanyl.
Right. You can just keep it.
In your purse, yep.
Okay.
Or
your car or your bag or whatever.
Yep. Whatever, backpack. You name it.
Okay. A backpack?
Yeah. Backpack.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love that. I love
great.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Next time I'm at the pharmacy, I'm going to ask for it.
Yeah. Ooh, I tried to pick mine up, but the pharmacist wasn't in. So you have to actually have the pharmacist in. But yeah, it's a really, there aren't negative side effects if you administer it to the wrong, like to someone who's just, sleeping. Like, and of course they're...
I mean, you might want to try to wake someone up first before shoving that up their nose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if they're sleeping and you shove something up their nose, they will likely awaken.
But also, safety first also for you, though. I mean, if it feels like an uncomfortable situation, or once you give it, I think definitely step back. I know that people, when they come out of that, can... Oh, yeah. It's very scary and frightening, so... Mm-hmm. I never want anyone to put themselves in harm's way if they don't feel comfortable, so... Yeah. But, man... How cool would that be if you could help someone in need?
And it's happened. Yeah. We just had this happen for a kiddo. A stranger walking by found them. They are underage. They had access to fentanyl. They administered Narcan and saved the kid's life.
The stranger walking by did?
Just a stranger.
Oh, okay. Let's all go get some.
Seriously, it saved that kid's life. I mean, that's kind of where our community's at right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, harm reduction, just carry it around. Like, it's such a cool way to support your community.
Get yourself some condoms and some Narcan.
I love that.
Little harm reduction backpack.
Oh my gosh.
Hashtag merch.
Should we make harm reduction kits for people?
Well.
Or like, you know what we could do? We could make like a harm reduction checklist for everybody for like in home. So like your home, and you could like talk to your kids and your like relatives about it. And it's obviously not everyone can have a defibrillator. But it's that idea, right?
Right.
And it's a little home reduction kit.
Aww.
Just like, you know how PGE teaches you to have like a if the lights go out kit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You got your flashlight and your battery radio.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I don't, but I've seen the list.
Oh, we're going to have to work on that. I kind of love that. Like,
we're not timeline promising that anytime soon. No. But we will work on it, and when we have it figured out and it's decent, we will spread the word and get it out there.
My hashtag life's goals is that someday this podcast is our job. And right now, our wonderful listeners, we both work a lot. So timeline stuff can't be promised that well, but...
No. Yeah.
So, anyway.
Because we're all in this together.
Oh, you can't.
Is that High School Musical?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I think that might be High School Musical.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, well, I think that we covered a lot.
I think that's a good intro to harm reduction. Yeah. I think that's definitely a topic that we, at some point, may dig deeper into, especially just legit addiction itself. But I think that's a good kind of like sampler for people that maybe have not heard of harm reduction. Now they know a little bit more about what it is. Again, would love to hear if you guys have harm reduction things that are going on in your community or you personally are doing that we didn't touch on today, because who knows? Yeah. That's the thing, we don't know. Yeah. So share that with us. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh,
to learn
I
new
would
things.
Love that.
Yeah.
Or like if you tried and it didn't work, I want to hear all about that too. That we learned so much in our own failures, like,
right?
Which I think is a hard thing to even say for some people, you know, like, but everybody fails at stuff, so it's okay.
All the time.
All the time is great, actually. But yeah, no, share with us. Oh, do you want to give our email? Because I always mess it up.
Yes. twofriends.onechat@gmail.com.
Perfecto.
Yeah. Or any other way you can contact us. We'll take it.
Just yell.
Yeah, yell real loud.
2 friends, 1 chat. That's how you summon us. We just like arrive like I Dream a Genie. It's like
a ding. Bam! There we are.
Oh man, yeah. Disclaimer: that's not how that works.
No. Yeah, an email, a message on one of the platforms.
Yeah, or two friends, one chat, no dot, .com.
Yeah, that's our website.
I made that. See, I can't even say things without being confusing. So, two friends, one chat.com.
That's our website.
That's our website. God bless me.
We got this. You got this.
You got this. We got this. We're going to make it.
We all can do it. Go reduce some harm.
Go reduce some harm. Okay. Bye.
Bye.